Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to give you a home and garden tour, but I'm also going to show you some of the things that we have done like before the tour actually takes place. So I guess if you're here just for the tour, skip ahead to this time, and if you want to see how some of these things came to be, stay tuned. I'm going to start out with some outside work. Here I'm working in the picket fence bed. I'm adding some annuals. So to get some instant color into this flower bed, I opted to go with gomphrena. And I think these are so cute. I'm planting them in groups of 2 or 3. Normally I like to plant in groups of 3, but I didn't have quite enough. And I wanted 3 different places to have this color. And I also got some eucalyptus. I'd love to have some to dry. And this is the silver dollar. I know it's hard to see with the bright sunlight here, which it's going behind a cloud right now, but a few drifts of gomphrena definitely spiced up this bed here. And I know mulch will do wonders as well. It's really going to bring out the flowers and the color. But I feel like there's still something missing. If I stand back, hopefully you guys can hear me. John is mowing lawn. I think I found the solution. I know, a little dramatic, but when I saw these roses at Richardson Greenhouse, I knew I needed one. Just a beautiful, fresh peach color, and it smells amazing. I wish I could get the smell to you. John did help me with most of the mulching. This was one bed that I kind of did myself. I didn't have to go far with it as far as, wheeling it down here. And the mulch we usually go with is the leaf bark compost. And I always feel like it's not necessary really to, mulch every year, but it really helps with weed control. That's often why I do it. Plus it really looks pretty too, but it's just definitely saves you a lot of work if you just put a layer of mulch over your flower beds. And if you wait until a little later in the season, of course, you don't need as much because your plants are going to be, larger. But we wanted to get this done because we had a photo shoot at our house. It's where a bunch of people came to our house to have their pictures taken. And it was kind of nice to have that schedule. That way, we got this done and everything was done at once. Just a good feeling to have the outside work done all at once in the springtime. I also have a couple of pots or planters I want to fix that are in the flower beds. Here I'm putting the New Guinea impatiens in this one. Before mulching back here, I'm going to trim my lamb's ear. It's really kind of tall for a border plant, and I don't even care that much for the flowers. I might leave some of them that are a little further back, but the ones along the front I think I'll trim down. The Virginia creeper that is climbing up my shed here just grew up here on its own. I didn't plant it, so I always have to keep it trimmed. It does go a little haywire if you don't. And in case you're wondering, the pink flowers in front of the boxwoods are dianthus pinks, and the lavender or purple ones are a hardy salvia. last year I had planted some cosmos in here and a lot of little starts came up, so I dug those out and I plan to plant them in front of the hive, like in this space where there isn't really anything. So we really wanted to put some raised beds in this year, and we simply did not have the time to make any. This is kind of unusual for us. Like normally we like to make our own things, but I did find some on Marketplace that were a really good price, and John kind of, figured out how much it would cost for us to make some, and we thought this was a really good deal. Like we could barely make them for this, with our time and everything. So it just worked out better for us to, just buy them this year. I'm really impressed with them. They're made with cedar. I really like to see the wood look, and I think it goes so well with the wood chips too. And the soil that John is putting in here is from a local mulch place, Kaufman Mulch, which that's where we get all of our mulch at. And they have a raised bed mix is what it's called. And that is what we got for these. And our soil isn't the best, in this garden. So I'm really excited to have some really good soil to plant some things in. The soil has sat in here for a couple days, so it's nice and settled. Plus we had gotten some rain too, and that really helped. But there's still a little bit too much in here, so I'm going to remove some. I can always use it elsewhere and even things out and start planting. The raised bed isn't going to have much structure, like basically everything's just kind of put in here any which way. I kind of want that look, like I want it to look like maybe one big colorful salad. So this little plot on the other side of the raised beds, I plan to put some sweet corn in. I haven't planted sweet corn on this property in years, simply because the raccoons always get it before we do. It's very frustrating. So I'm going to try this year and just really keep an eye on it. It seems as soon as it turns sweet, ready to eat, they get it too. So maybe if I can get to it before they do, we can get at least a few meals of sweet corn out of this garden. I'm going to utilize the space here in my hotbed. I'm harvesting the radishes and the lettuce. I think these are ready to eat. And then I'm going to plant it full of spinach. We actually eat a lot of it, and I think this would be a good place for it. I'll show you a few things that we did earlier this spring. I mean, this was before the trees had even fully, grown in, but I decided to plant some boxwoods along the stone steps leading up to our shop. I've always had sort of a struggle, again, with it being a narrow flower bed. I think it just makes it really hard to know what to put in there, to the right side especially of the steps. And I'm going to try these boxwoods. I always like to see boxwoods. I ended up planting an annual lantana, I think it's called, in between the boxwoods. And when I got it, I thought the flowers are going to be nice and orange, but they turned out to be bright red, which is probably not my favorite color for flowers, but it's okay. I guess before they were fully, open, they were more of an orange color. So I wonder what you guys think of this. We are debating to cut out some of the bottom branches of this Norway spruce. And we even debated just to cut it down. It doesn't look as healthy, quite as healthy anymore. But I read somewhere that you can actually cut up, or cut out some of the branches. Sometimes they get more, cone shaped even if you do that. And last summer we had removed a Norway spruce that was in here. And we really like it, being that it opens up this area so that we can see the pond from, up by the house. And so we really debated just chop this one down as well. That way we could really see down here. But before we do that, we're just going to cut out some of the bottom ones, see how it looks. And there's also another Norway spruce up here. And we debated to cut out some bottom branches of that one as well. But to test it, we're going to do this one first, being that we're considering just to remove it completely. We'll test it, see how it looks to just cut out some of the bottom ones. So before giving an outside tour, we'll move to the inside and then do the tours last. I think I'm going to try to make some slip covers for these chairs, see how it goes. It's not that I don't like the design that they are. They're nice and neutral, but I just want a fresh new look in here. And to me, I think that looks so cozy and kind of cottagey to have a slipcover, and especially a white one. And what I have here is a king-size bed sheet. It's the fitted sheet, and there's some that we had at the cottages. We recently switched them out with new ones, and they're not worn. They're not terribly worn or anything. They're not pilling. They feel good, but we just wanted to freshen things up at the cottages. So I thought, well, I'll bring these home. Maybe I'll use them, when I'm painting or something, but I think they could be used as slip covers. I really like the feel of them. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the elastic out. The elastic is sewn in, so I can't just pull it out and use the seam that's there, which would be nice, but I have to cut it out since, the elastic is stitched to the sheet. Right now our electricity is off. I think they're changing a power pole up the road. And I'll go outside. It's really dark in our living room with all the trees, growing against the house, so I'll have more lighting out here. So the plan is to keep everything, nice and smooth over the seat part, the arms, and the back. And then wherever the fabric is gathered, which I imagine it would be, in here and maybe back here as well. I don't know, can you see that or not? But so I plan to put ties or bows wherever the fabric is gathered. For now, I'll probably trim off the bottom, get up to the length that I want, and then take it on the sewing machine, put my seam in once I have electricity. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe it won't turn out, but gonna try it. I really like the look of it, even just now. I had been debating if I want to keep this panel behind the chair here or not in here, and I thought it was almost too busy to go with the design of these chairs here. But I think being that these are white, I might end up keeping that. I kind of like to see it together. We'll see. So what I end up doing is just laying this piece onto my second sheet and just cutting out another one exactly like this instead of, re-tucking and measuring everything. I'm going to mark the back of the slipcover with a safety pin, probably just put a stitch in then once I have my sewing machine set up. That way I know, where to place the cover once I put it back on the chair. This was more of a challenge than I initially thought it would be. I think it might be easier to fold it in half. And I think instead of putting a seam along the edge, folding it up and stitching it, being that it's so uneven, like I just cut it to kind of be the shape of the chair, it's going to be kind of hard to put a perfect seam in. I'll just use another stitch, like a tight zigzag or something, just to keep it from fraying. Here I'm going to use the pillowcases for my ties. I was thinking about it, instead of, I'm not sure am I going to do this or not, but instead of hand stitching a bow onto the fabric like this, I might just go ahead and sew a tie, around here, and then maybe one around here, and then just tie them together, bringing the fabric to a gather like this. So I started out by using the pillowcases that came with this sheet to make my ties with, and decided to just finish 2 of them and make sure everything looks okay before making the rest, because I need 8 of them per chair, because I want ties to be, on the back part of both sides and then on the front as well. So I'd have to make 16 ties, and it's pretty time consuming, to sew them and then, turn them inside out. So I decided I'll make sure it looks okay before, finishing them. And as I was kind of fitting this onto the cover, I thought maybe it looked a little bulky. I might have made them a bit too wide too. And then I remembered I have a roll of lace upstairs in my storage, and I think this is something that would work. It's not as bulky. It's actually wider, like the lace pieces are wider, but they're not like double layer. So I think I'm going to go with this, and I'll probably end up sewing them onto the cover after I have it. I'll probably pin it to the cover for now, and then so I know exactly where to put it. And again, I think the ties could work. You wouldn't need lace like this to finish this off, but this will save me a lot of time if I just use my lace, so that's kind of why I'm going this route. I tried not to overthink it as I was pinning these pieces onto the slipcover, because I know things aren't even. But I thought, with all these places to tuck things in, I should be good. If things aren't exactly even, I can always make it look like it is. So it was a lot of fabric here on my table, a lot of slipcover, but I managed to get the ties sewn on. So the mantle is still decorated kind of for the Valentine's Day season. I know it's been a while, but honestly it kind of fit to the spring season as well, what I had on here, so it didn't really bother me. And I was so busy, working outside, I didn't give that much attention to the inside of our house, but looking forward to get a fresh new look in here. And I have to think back to when I was fixing this up, how I felt. Like I had been kind of in the middle or beginning-ish middle of my Lyme flare-up. It still wasn't, as bad as it was going to get, but I guess little did I know what was in front of me. But yeah, it's kind of depressing to think of that, but I just feel so thankful to be feeling good again. Here I have 3 round wood signs that I plan to hang above the mantle, and these I made myself, well, with the help of a machine. And I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but I'm going to do a sponsorship soon, like a sponsored video on the complete machine that I just recently got. And I tell you guys, this is probably a dream come true for me, because I love to, when I'm making something, sometimes I think, like if I'm fixing up a space, I think, well, how could I somehow transfer, this image onto this item? And I think I have that machine that's able to do that. It's not, printing out paper and transferring it from there. It's actually printing it directly onto the piece. So you can imagine I'm pretty excited about this, but stay tuned for that video. It'll be coming soon, just a whole video on what all this machine can do and how much fun I've had with it. But for now, I'm attaching this rope onto these signs so I can hang them on the wall. I think the combination with this green and white and this rope will look really good. My vision for the mantle this season is Psalm 23, and I'm sure a lot of you know this one. It's one of my favorites, and I really thought this one over this winter when I went through my sickness that I had. And it's such a comforting verse to me. So I thought I'm going to try to incorporate some of that, onto the mantle, starting out by these sheep. When I think of Psalm 23, I think of, green pastures, of course, and just, flowing meadows and brooks. I'm not sure can I really, incorporate water into here, but I'm going to try for the grass and the meadows and the sheep. I'm going to use some actual real grass in my vases here for the mantle. I thought it would be so fitting. Now I realize it's not going to last for the whole season, probably not, but I can always either switch it out with faux greenery or just fresh, add fresh every now and then. And the perfect place to get some of this is down in our meadow. We have all kinds of different types down here. I'm going to see what all I can find, and maybe I'll even throw in some multiflower roses. They're blooming so pretty right now. Just love the smell of them. And you guys got to listen to the sounds down here as well. It just sounds so nice these days. We have a common yellow-throat warbler that is singing its heart out down here a lot of the time. And then there's the house wren that's always singing on high. So cute. So as I was working on fixing up the mantle, hanging these signs, I thought, how neat would this be to somehow incorporate this design or one of them onto a candle top. We sell these glass candles with the wooden lids every now and then, and I still had a few boxes left over. And I thought, how neat would that be to have this sheep design on the lid? And I've been wanting to do a fresh cut grass candle this summer. I know a lot of you know about this candle. I normally do a run of these during the summer months because it's so fitting to the season, and they smell amazing. It's probably one of my favorite scents for the summer season. It actually smells like fresh cut grass. So that's what I decided to do, is get Amy to pour fresh cut grass candles into these glass containers and print that image onto the lids and add a label on the side that says, fresh cut grass. That way, once the candle is gone, you have a pretty container to use to decorate with, or just a holding container to, put something in. I think they turned out so pretty. And these candles are available on the Etsy shop. So as often is the case when you set things up a little bit high, things tend to look kind of tall. So I think I'm going to trim the flowers down just a bit more. I'll see if that will help, because I do like where my signs are hanging, like the sheep. I don't want to put those further up. So I'll just try to trim some of the flowers down. I quickly designed the scripture using Canva, printed it out, and I plan to frame it in a plain white frame without glass. Here I'm adding a hiking stick for the rod that, Psalm 23 talks about. And first I thought, does it kind of look snake-like lying in here? But I do like to see the wood look with this. And I'm going to keep it because I wanted to stick with this theme. I thought it would be fitting. So right now everything looks relatively boring in here, like I haven't fixed anything up. I'm basically starting with a clean slate. And like I often do, I'm going to dabble around just a bit with rearranging the furniture. Now, I shouldn't even do this because I know I'm probably going to put it back exactly the way it is, but I'm going to see how it looks to split the couch or the sofa. This is one we had gotten from Cheetah Living, and I had done a video on it last summer, I think. and it's actually in 3 different pieces, so I would be able to almost create an L shape. Well, I would be able to create an L shape, but I'm not sure would that look right. I thought about just making it a little bit, diagonal, not quite, just all in line with each other, these sections, because honestly we rarely use all 3 sections at one time. It's a fairly large sofa, and often, just the recliners are used, or even just 2 of the sections. And they are rather heavy. I shouldn't even be doing this, again, being that I'll probably just put it back exactly how it is, but so at least I will get things cleaned behind the sofa this way if I, do move it around a bit. And although I love the green coffee table, I'm going to keep it, but I think I'm going to switch it out this season with another one. I have one stored upstairs, a white one. Being that I want to add blues into the living room, I'd rather not have the green coffee table. So I'm actually kind of liking the look of this. I wonder what you guys think. Now, a few changes. I might move everything just a little further over, being that our TV is over here. It'll just be easier. This is where John usually sits, so I think he would probably appreciate having this a little further over. I might replace this with something lower. I think it would look better, but I kind of have the visual of it if I just, set that there. I don't know, does it look weird, or does it look like a broken sofa? We'll see. Sometimes I need a few days to get used to something, so I can always switch it back. But I think for now I'm gonna keep it. I'll probably see what John says. And as you could tell, these things are super heavy. I know when we first got it, I thought, how can a sofa be in 3 different pieces like this and not slide around? But once I'm moving around like this, I realized why. They're basically stuck to the floor. So I went out in the shop and I found this little stand. Had forgotten about it. I picked it up in Florida this winter, and I think it's meant to be between these pieces. It'll fit in perfectly, I think. I have plenty of houseplants underneath our deck, so I think I'm going to get a few and put them here in the living room. I know, again, it's fairly dark in here during the summer, but I know this window here is a good window for houseplants because I've done it before. I ended up switching out the coffee table yet again. Ended up using my ottoman that I had made years ago for a coffee table. Wasn't sure where else to put it, so I thought it would make a good coffee table for now. So Marlene has this beautiful house plant that she wasn't really using. It was just sitting in her plant room, and I'll probably give it back, come winter time, but she said I can use it for now. And I'm going to trim out some of the dead leaves, and I think it'll look okay in front of that panel, that blue and white room divider panel. For a while, it's really bothered me how small this lamp is for the table and the space that it's in. And Marlene had a lamp for me. I know I keep getting things from Marlene, but she has one that she's not using right now that is a bit bigger. I think it'll look better. I think I'll end up getting another shade for it eventually. Maybe one of those basket weave shades I think would look really good here. So I want a stand or an end table to be between the chairs, and I once again dug through my storage, and out in the shop I found this, what used to be a drawer, a big deep workbench drawer. I had turned it into a stand. I added the little wheels and the wallpaper backing, and I had done this in a video, probably one of my first Trash to Treasure videos. Always hesitate to send people back there, but it's there if you want to see it, and if you remember it, bless you for sticking with me this long. But I plan to clean it up and see how it looks. Probably add some books maybe on the bottom shelf, and at this point not quite sure what I'll put on the top. I won't be doing a lot in the kitchen, just little touches here and there. This little cabinet here in the corner, I want to add some plates to that I had got at a thrift store in Florida. You might remember seeing them. They're beautiful floral plates. I want to incorporate those into this little cupboard here, and then go over my house plant that is sitting on top, just pull some of the dead leaves off. Marlene insisted I can use some of her peonies for a centerpiece for our table. They're so pretty, and we have gotten a lot of rain here recently, so as peonies often do, you know, they kind of droop down once they get, you know, heavy with water, but they're still so beautiful. And if you're not following Marlene on Instagram, make sure to do so. She has so many beautiful garden pictures on there, and she shares some of her advice, and she could be sharing a lot more. Like, she knows so much about plants. I often go to her to, you know, ask for advice or tips. I'll have her Instagram link down below in the description box. I don't think you guys have met Pumpkin. She is Mark and Marlene's latest pet addition, and honestly, I think she's the world's best hunter. Like, Marlene has all these stories of things that she catches, and to the point where she's actually wearing a bib right now. It's supposed to hinder her from just being able to just catch every little thing. I think it's actually helped some. I love how these flowers match the wallpaper, so pretty. And I'm keeping things really simple on the table right now. I'm just adding the cutting board and the flowers and then a candle. And speaking of candles, I'm gonna have a new announcement coming soon. I'm actually doing a whole new rebranding of the candles. They're still gonna be the same amazing, great smelling candles that Amy, you know, has been pouring, but they're just going to look different. I have a new label that I designed. I love it. I wonder what you guys think. Maybe I'll throw a sneak peek in here, but at the point of filming here, I'm still working on them. So in the next week or two, I should have them finished. So I went out to my herb garden and clipped a few herbs. I plan to have some here on the island. I have sage, and then I also have some garden tea that I want for the bedroom. I just like to smell that, just a fresh herb like that by my bedside. And then also here on the island, hopefully we'll smell it, and if not, it'll look pretty too. We are still loving our linen sheets from Brooklinen. They feel so fresh and soft. And the comforter is a duvet cover that I had gotten off of Amazon years ago, and I've tried since to find something like this again and haven't been able to, so I feel like it's discontinued. It also seems to be a linen fabric. It's very cozy and holding out great. So now let's get into the actual home and garden tour, and I'll do the inside first, and I'll warn you ahead of time here, the outside is going to look a little rained on. We have gotten so much rain here in Ohio, and it's actually kind of hard to film with all the rain. Plus, even if it's not raining, everything's going to look kind of rained on, if you know what I mean. There's lots of little leaves down, and the mulch isn't, you know, nice and fresh anymore, but I think it's still pretty. I love all the green that we're having right now, and everything is so lush with all the rain, so not complaining. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe found some peace as you watched that last part, especially of the gardens. I just find so much stillness and peace in nature. I know not everyone probably feels that way, but for me, that's where I get my therapy. So hopefully I was able to bring that to you as well. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.